things that I've always that there was some kind of crazy trash talk with Gervonta and Terence Crawford recently. And one of the things that I've always kind of noticed is most of the time, one of the things that's kind of off limits is families. Like you usually don't,
Yes.
people.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. And so I wanted to kind of understand what your thoughts was about like some of those comments that was made. I think it was about Terrence's wife. What, like in your mind, where because obviously, like, you've been in this sport.
I think Terence Crawford right now in the sport of boxing is the pound for pound best fighter in the sport of boxing right now. It's good to see him in the position that he's in. I think he has a beautiful family. I think he has a beautiful wife, a beautiful queen, a black queen. And there's nothing better than a black woman in this world. That's just my opinion. We all entitled to our opinion. And I think just in the sport of boxing right now, I think we need to start sticking more together. Pushing each other to be great instead of arguing on social media. That's just my opinion. And push each other in a positive way. And, I found myself in the past, the younger Floyd Mayweather, going back and forth on the internet with different people. But I'm in a better place in my life right now. I couldn't ask to be in a better place. So the old Floyd Mayweather, when I used to go back and forth.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy No Cutter, and I'm back again with another one. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos like this. That being said, let's get into it. Terence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather had his era. This is the Terence Bud Crawford era. Floyd Mayweather recently did an interview, and in this interview, he was asked about the feud or beef between Crawford and Gervonta Davis. Floyd really didn't get into it. He usually just answers politically. So a guy like Floyd Mayweather, me personally, if I was a reporter, I wouldn't even want to ask him a question because I already know his answers. And that's not really good for the people because you're not really answering our questions. You understand what I'm saying? You're not giving us the substance we're looking for. He always gives answers we're not really interested in. I'm not really interested in hearing some of the shit he's saying. And majority of the time, when I ask him a specific question, he ends up turning the question about himself. So it's like, it's pointless. I mean, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. Yes, you want to get him on camera, but if he's not going to get to the point you're trying to get across, or if he's not going to truly address the topic, it's a waste of time interviewing him. Now, at this point, you're just interviewing him just because you want people to look, but they're not really looking to hear anything good he has to say because he's never on topic. Anyway, let me get into it. The interviewer talked about Gervonta Davis and Terence Crawford feud or beef, whatever you guys want to call it. Floyd says, yes, I know where you're going with this. As you guys heard from the audio, I couldn't play the whole audio because I could have played it and broke it down, but I got tired of listening to Floyd, so I just stopped a little bit. I just recorded a little bit. But anyway, he said, I know where you're going with this and that. Well, I'm thinking Floyd's about to give me a good answer. This dude says a few nice things about Crawford and then start talking about himself. It's ridiculous. He does this shit all the time. Me personally, like I said before, I would never want to interview Floyd. The only reason I'll interview him because I never had an interview with him, and because he's one of the biggest names in the sport and in all the sports. So just to get him on my platform. But other than that, I know he's not going to give me what I want to hear. And as a reporter, I will be focused on actually getting the meat and potatoes, like getting everything I want to hear a fighter say. If I ask him a question, I want you to address that. Don't give me no political answer. Anyway, the reporter asked Floyd Mayweather about Gervonta Davis disrespected Terence Crawford family. We know Gervonta said something about Terence Crawford's baby mom or wife. And the reporter was like, that family is off limits, and Gervonta kind of crossed the line. And Floyd Mayweather, instead of addressing what Gervonta did, he goes and starts giving Terence Crawford praise. Says Crawford right now is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. He's this and he's that. Bro, you're telling us something we already know. That's not what the interviewer asked you, buddy. So I understand why some people say Floyd Mayweather, I don't want to say that word, but they don't think Floyd Mayweather's all the way there. Kind of like Gervonta, who a lot of people don't believe is all the way there. Me personally, I don't think he has a lot of screws in his head. He's missing a lot of screws. Gervonta, personally, I think Floyd is a little smarter than Gervonta, but Gervonta, he's totally not there. He's way off. He's in his own. He got hit in the head too much. He needs to work on his defense because he's missing a lot of screws in his head. Anyway, Floyd Mayweather says Crawford is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. We all know that. My thing is, why doesn't he ever address a situation to the fullest? And why doesn't the reporters force him or continue to ask the same questions so he answers these questions not in a political way? Because he didn't even mention Gervonta, not even once, bro. Let me tell you guys how you will answer a question like that. If a guy asks you about two guys, you mention both guys. You don't just mention one of them. First of all, he asks you, what do you think about Gervonta comments? You totally ignore the question and you start talking about the other guy. The question first talked about Gervonta comments, so your immediate reaction should have been about Gervonta comments. Floyd should have said, Gervonta, I brought him into the sport of boxing or whatever the case is. We still maintain a good relationship. I may not be his promoter or whatever the case is, right? But I do try to give him some advice, and I feel like what he said or what he did was out of pocket. He should have never said that. Family is off limits. He got a problem with Crawford. Deal with that problem with Crawford. Don't mention his family. You understand what I'm saying? That's a proper way for Floyd to address a question like that. He could have said, Gervonta is definitely in the wrong. That was kind of disrespectful. Words were exchanged. Both guys shouldn't even be going back and forth with each other. Floyd never said nothing like that. Instead, he says, Crawford's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. I'm glad he's in that position. Then he starts talking about himself and say, when I was younger, I used to go back and forth with people on social media. Bro, the interview had nothing to do with you. It was about Crawford and Gervonta. You literally ruined that interview just to talk about when you were younger. And it's ridiculous. It pisses me off every time I hear Floyd Mayweather speak. And instead of speaking on a specific topic, he relates that topic to himself every single time. It is ridiculous. He's like a freaking robot repeating the same stuff over and over. Anyways, your boy, don't credit. I'm out.